Good evening, members of the gallery, staff and councillors. Welcome to this special council meeting of today's date being the 5th of March 2025. I declare the meeting open now at 7 p.m. I'd like to advise all members of the gallery that tonight's meeting will be live streamed and also audio recorded. If you're asking a public question or making a statement or deputation to the meeting, we request that you take a seat at the table in front of me. Members of the public are reminded that no other visual or audio recording of this meeting by any means is allowed. That brings us on to agenda item number 1. Agenda item number 1 is attendance and apologies. There is a leave of absence granted to Councillor Morgan Bice. There's also 2 apologies that we have received, firstly from Councillor Mazzini and secondly from Councillor Bishop. That brings us to agenda item number 2. Agenda item number 2 is public question time. Public question time will now commence at 7:01 p.m. And for the purpose of the recording, I'll ask Mr. Bill Denham to come forward. Mr. Bill Denham is not here. I do see that there is Mr. Dave Atwell in the gallery. Mr. Atwell, would you like to come forward and ask the questions on behalf of Mr. Denham? And I understand we have received some notification from Mr. Denholm that he's happy for you to do that. Thank you, Mr. Atwell.
He's just running slightly late, but I'll make an attempt to read Bill's handwriting, which may be rather difficult. As part of the stakeholder group for Kernan Street Sporting Precinct, we were given a timetable which now is completely irrelevant, and an estimated financial breakdown of the different parts of the 1A section to make up $20 million. I note the Shire, as of last council meeting, has spent $1.77 million internally on wages, although we haven't started turning soil. We are now at tender stage, 5 years later. My question is for accountability and transparency reasons. What is the breakdown of cost to come to the figure of $35 million 5 years later? It's cost us $15 million extra.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Atwell. On behalf of Mr. Denholm, I would ask the Director of Infrastructure Services to please provide a response.
The timeline for the project has been significantly impacted upon due to the need to obtain water and clearing permits. In regards to the initial cost estimates, as the project has moved from initiation to master planning to concept development and finally to detailed design, the costings for stage 1A have become more accurate. As contained in the report, the breakdown of costs are outlined below. The concept design cost $570,915. The detailed design $2,089,388. Services and site investigations $472,835. Bore monitoring $175,000. Environmental rehabilitation $285,000. Construction $25,700,000. Contingency $1,950,000. Internal and external project management costs $3,497,090. Design consultant for the construction phase $520,000. Total cost of $35,260,228.
Thank you, Director. Mr. Atwell, would you like to ask the second question on behalf of Mr. Denholm, please?
Okay, recently I received a directive from a senior officer, and I quote, "All photo requests must go through the communications team. Please contact our communications team for assistance." So therefore, my question is directed to the CEO. Do I need to get permission from the communications team if I want to take a photo on a Shire Oval, Shire Road, for that matter, any Shire ratepayers owned facility? Heaven forbids, even when we are self-advocating for the new 15-court netball facility, stage 1C at Kernan Street.
Thank you for the second question, Mr Atwell. On behalf of Mr Denholm, I'd ask the Chief Executive Officer to please provide a response.
Thank you, Mr Atwell, for the question. As I understand, the request for the photo was related to advocacy for upgrading of netball courts as part of an election advocacy. Internally, we've established processes for how we manage photo opportunities and announcements in the lead up to elections, and these are coordinated in one team. I apologise to Mr Denham for any initial confusion regarding this matter, but understand the photo opportunity is now scheduled to occur.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr CEO. And Mr Atwell, would you like to ask the third question, please, on behalf of Mr Bill Denholm?
Yes, I would. Civcom are basically a project manager. Do they provide the same warranty that a billing company would? I.e., I think it says i.e. after ovals are constructed, i.e. after ovals constructed, will a successful tenderer then maintain the ovals for a period of time to avoid a repeat of East Fremantle Oval when no one is accountable for problems, or the Briggs Park Lower Oval debacle managed by the Community Directorate? No change rooms, but plenty of stinging nematodes, I think. I am to believe that the other tenderer has engaged the services of a company that has recently successfully won at least 7 oval contracts, including the AFL standard Leederville Oval.
Thank you, Mr Atwell. This time I'd ask the Director of Infrastructure Services to please provide a response.
Thank you. The Shire would only issue a building permit to a registered builder. Any registered builder must comply with relevant legislation, maintain necessary insurances, ensure quality workmanship and safety, protect consumer interests, follow environmental regulations and keep accurate records. The tender request includes a 12-week establishment period and a 21-month consolidation period for the soft and non-plant elements of the landscaping, including cleaning, rubbish, removal, weed control, pruning, replanting, irrigation and watering. In regard to the delivery of the ovals, the technical specification includes a series of inspection points, certification and testing and inspection hold points to establish quality control of material being imported, including the turf itself. This includes testing at the designated turf farm and the material being imported. And additional to this would be the proposed soil analysis testing of the on-site material being used for fill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director, for the answer, and thank you very much, Mr Atwell, as Mr Denholm has just walked in. But Mr Denholm, just for you, the questions were asked very well by Mr Atwell and the answers have been provided. Thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we've only had 7 minutes of question time, so I am happy to ask anyone from the floor if there are any questions, but I would remind members of the public that the questions have to be pertaining to the item on the agenda tonight. Are there any questions from the floor? Yep, Mrs Rich, would you like to come forward and ask your question, please? And sorry, and just in fairness, I'll just remind everyone it's 3 minutes per question. Thank you, Mrs Rich.
Thank you. I didn't intend on asking a question tonight, but given the fact that we only have 4 councillors in attendance and we have councillors that have actually been very much against this project for a very long time, we find ourselves in the situation where we could have a tied vote and then a casting vote to sink this project. Now, given the fact that this funding is the largest amount of funding that this Shire has ever received, and it is a project that is extremely important to a growing community, I hope that our councillors actually look at the project and take into consideration our community in making a decision tonight, instead of playing games, for want of a better word, with it, because this project is extremely important. And if you take the personalities out of it, this project is important. We don't have anywhere else to build something like this without paying for land. But councillors, I hope that you all realise the significance of the decision you have in front of you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Mrs Rich. I think there was a question in there, and I'll give you some leniency. As the presiding member, I think your questions were linking to the fact there's only 4 councillors here and whether we take this seriously. Firstly, in relation to the 4 councillors, in consultation with the CEO, I do have the power to set a special council meeting. A decision was made to set the special council meeting sooner rather than later because of the points you made, being it's such an important project. That was notification sent out to councillors. Unfortunately, one councillor has a leave of absence. That's why he's not here. Another councillor had a pre-arranged trip and they are an apology, and another councillor had a last-minute work thing. Unfortunately, these things do happen, but please rest assured, as a presiding member, as all councillors, we are a council that take all matters before us very seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, there's still a couple of minutes left of question time. Would anyone else like to come forward and ask a question? That being the case, question time is now concluded at 7:11 p.m. That brings on to agenda item number 3. Agenda item number 3 is public statement time. I declare public statement time commenced at 7:11 p.m, and I would ask Mr Denholm himself to come forward and make his statement.
Yeah, thanks for that. At least 5 years ago, we, the SJ ratepayers and community, were given a piece of land at Kiernan Street, approximately 60 acres, and then given $20 million to build a road, 2 ovals and a pavilion. Having a piece of land to be able to have a sporting and community precinct was crucial. The community got quite excited because in the initial stages we were struggling to get the land. One ratepayer even stating at a council meeting, probably tongue-in-cheek, that SJ could host the BMX events at the Brisbane Olympics at Whitby. So here we are tonight, yet to award the contract for it to be started, i.e. construction, and we haven't. My problem is we haven't turned one sod of soil, and yet the Shire spent $1.7 million on wages internally, plus consultant fees, etc. So this money was for the ratepayers and the community, but there's nothing to show for it. 5 years later, it certainly doesn't pass the pub test. Often I hear that perception is reality. Well, I'm certain that this inefficiency is affecting the Shire's ability to secure more grants. We need to get Kiernan Street going. We need to get the contract awarded and work to commence ASAP, because the next problem is winter's fast approaching and you won't get on that land. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement, Mr Denholm. Again, I'll extend the courtesy to anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and make a statement in relation to the item that's on the agenda tonight. Please come forward, Mr Atwell.
Firstly, I'll correct Mr Denham. It was 63 hectares, I think, not 63 acres. I would just like to say it's been a long journey. I've been with it all the way, and I realise it's been very frustrating, I guess, for council staff and everybody else as well, and the public. But it would be remiss of me not to mention at least that the part that was played by the recently departed Barry Urban. Now, apart from his obvious faults Barry had, he was a very good advocate, particularly for this project, and I would just like to make it the public, get it out to the public that, as I said, Barry was a very good advocate and one of the prime movers in us getting this piece of land. Thank you.
Mr Atwell, thank you for making that comment. The Shire will acknowledge his passing at the opportune time, so please don't think we have chosen to, but thank you for making that very important statement. Is there anyone else like to come forward in the gallery and make a statement? That being the case, public statement time is now concluded at 7:14 p.m. That brings us on to agenda item number 4, which is petitions and deputations, which we have received nil. Agenda item number 5 is declaration of elected members and other interests, and I've received nil. You haven't received any, Mr CEO?
None received, Mr President.
Thank you, Mr CEO. That brings us on to agenda item number 6. Agenda item number 6 is reports for consideration. 6.1, which consider the request for tender RFT 19-2024 Kiernan Park Recreation Precinct, Stage 1A, construction of works head contract. Councillors, I have circulated an alternate motion, which I'll make sure is on the screen. Thank you, Madam Secretary. The key part is paragraph number 1, which is awards tender RFT 19-2024 Kiernan Park Recreation Precinct Stage 1A, construction works head contractor Civicon Civil and Project Management Proprietary Limited, as recommended in confidential attachment 1 for $25,712,486.81. Paragraph 2 remains extant. Paragraph 3 is notes the Chief Executive Officer, in accordance with Regulation 20 of the Local Government Functions and General Regulations 1996, will negotiate minor variations to finalise and agree on the contract terms, including amendments to the Australian Standards 2124/1997, General Conditions of Contract, and paragraph 4 being authorises the CEO to execute a contract on behalf of the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale for tender RFT 19-2024 Kiernan Park Recreational Precinct Stage 1A construction works head contractor, and paragraph 5 being notes the funding model and assumptions to achieve the revised project budget of $35,260,229 as outlined in the financial implications section of this report. And then paragraphs 6 and 7 remain extant to the circulated the officer's recommendation as per the agenda. And that is now reflected on the screen. Is there a councillor who is happy to second the alternate motion? Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Is there anyone opposed to the motion? Thank you, Councillor Mack. I will open debate. And I guess for me, this comes down to probably the comment that was made earlier by members of the public, and it's not lost on me that there's an ex-Shire President and a Deputy Shire President and a councillor all in attendance tonight, and the three of them worked very, very hard for this project. It has been a project that's been going on for some 5 years. It is a project that unequivocally the community needs. It's not a project that an individual ex-councillor or individual ex-president or individual ex-Shire President, Deputy Shire President wants. It's not a personal thing. They have done work because the community needs it. And it's not lost on me over the last couple of weeks, and probably longer really, we're always advocating, but certainly over the last probably couple of months, and we really have been advocating, our number one project is roads, and roads probably always will be our number one project. But the next group of projects are about community sporting facilities. And it's quite clear that we need good quality community sporting facilities in this Shire. We need that because we are such a fast growing Shire. We need to attract people to this Shire. We need people to come down here to buy land and build their forever home and to stay in this Shire and make it their home. Part of that is a term called livability, and we have worked quite extensively with the National Growth Area Alliance, and reading the livability scorecard for this Shire is quite sobering. It's not great. We as councillors, we as a community need to fix that. And I think this one project will go a long way in making this Shire a place to live, a place to work, and a place to enjoy. Not only that, and I think I remember the comment that Mr Denholm referred to earlier about BMX, it may well be, in fact, it will be a regional sporting precinct that will attract people to come to our Shire. Sport is not the silver panacea, or the silver panacea, it's not very good. It's not the panacea or the silver bullet, but sport is a great thing for young people to get involved in. And it's quite clear that this project will go a long way in helping our young people in the Shire. It'll help our young people in the Shire to do something positive. That positive thing is to play sports, to learn about leadership, to learn about teamwork. And I'm not going to embarrass someone in the room, but there is a young man that I know who is now a police officer, who was an amazing young man, and I think a lot of that is not to do with his grandfather, but also to do with the fact that he played sport and played sport at a very, very high level. and you can probably tell from my voice I'm quivering a bit, but it just shows you the importance of sports for young people, getting them into the right environment to learn those lifelong skills. This is a project that's taken a long time. The reason I've moved the alternate motion is because we need to act now. We know that money today is cheaper than what it is tomorrow. And whilst I commend the staff to look at options to save some money, what I'm concerned about is a project starting, but it not being completed properly, and having to rely on other people, such as the state government, for funding for lights, for landscaping, to seal car parks, I think is a risk. We can afford it, and it's time to act now. Councillor Duggan, did you want to speak or reserve?
Happy to reserve, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duggan. Councillor Matt, did you want to open the debate to oppose the motion?
Yeah, thank you. And firstly, I want to acknowledge everything that you just said. Absolutely. Sporting opportunities for our kids is desperately needed. We need the grounds, we need to move, and we need to move fast on it. My concern here, as outlined by Mr Denham in his first question, this was projected to be a $20 million project. It's blown out to a $35 million project. This will max out our credit card, so to speak. We will be at our limits. And whilst this is a fantastic project, is it the right time to be going forward with it? Yes, everything is a little bit more expensive tomorrow. I would like to buy some things personally now, but I just can't afford them at the moment. So for me, it all comes down to what we can afford, being sensible with our budget, and I, for one, am not prepared to max out the credit card.
Thank you, Councillor Mack. Are there any councillors like to speak for the motion? That being the case, I will close. One of the responsibilities we have as a council and councillors is financial responsibility, so I do hear those comments. For me, the staff have done an outstanding job, and I mean that sincerely. The finances have gone over with a fine-tooth comb. We had an extensive question and answer session last night about finances and what it means, and I guess the CEO, who ultimately is responsible for the agenda, I think put a very, very important part in the agenda, and that is referring to our council plan. And our council plan, it has the projects in there and what we're trying to achieve, and it's been laid out very, very well on the agenda that the main projects that we're looking at in the short term have either been delivered or are starting to be delivered. So we talk about things like the pump shack, we talk about things like the addition to the skate park, we talk about other things. I'm just trying to get the right page in the agenda, but it's all listed out there. So if it's a case of this project going ahead to the detriment of others, potentially my support of the project wouldn't be as strong as it is now. But the team have done a good job. Yes, there are things that will be delayed, such as the refurbishment of the new Civic Centre, council chambers, and that's okay. We can get there eventually. The key thing is we can afford this. The key thing, and I acknowledge again the work the Shire staff have done in terms of developer contributions, looking at so many lots per year that need to be sold to be able to afford this, and those figures have been made very, very conservatively. I, as a Shire President, are quite comfortable in saying that we can afford this, and it's not to the detriment of other projects. The waste transfer station, there's money there in the long-term financial plan to allow that to happen. There's still money for the pound. As I said, the only real project that gets put into the back burner is the depot and the council chambers or the civic space, which I think are two projects. Certainly the civic space and the council chambers can be delayed because, as we've heard tonight, this is a project the community needs. And it's not a case of what the community wants, it's a case of what the community needs. And again, talking about state and federal advocacy, the livability, we need this project here for the livability of our Shire. We are such a fast-growing area that we need facilities to help our community. Every time we go out for the community perception survey, it's about roads and facilities. This is a way to alleviate that need of quality regional playing fields. I would commend the alternate motion. All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried 3-1. And for the reasons for difference to, I'm trying to think of better words than to stop the delay, to, what's a better word, Mr CEO, to enable the project to commence as expediently as possible, or just to allow the project to commence is probably enough.
Sorry, Mr President, can I just note the council resolution is spelled incorrectly at the top of the page.
Thank you.
Are you happy with that? Are you happy with that reason, Mr.
To enable the project to commence, yes, thank you. And I think the Deputy President had might have been a small typo, Madam Secretary, at the top. Just the S for resolution. Thank you, Madam Secretary. That brings us on to agenda item number 7. Agenda item number 7 is motions of which notice has been given. There is nil. Agenda item number 8 is urgent business, which there is nil. And that brings us to agenda item number 9, which is closure. I declare the meeting closed at 7:26 p.m. And I thank members of the public for coming along tonight, especially those 3 people I acknowledged before, the ex-Shire President, ex-Deputy President and Councillor. Thank you very much. Good night and drive safely.